Can you enter a locked bedroom to arrest a DV suspect? Hey guys, my name is Anthony Bandiero, attorney and senior legal instructor for Blue to Gold Law Enforcement Training. All right, so this question comes from an officer in Washington, and the scenario is the victim, right? The DV victim is outside her home, while the suspect is inside the home in a locked bedroom. There is PC to arrest the suspect, right, for DV. The victim indicates that she wants to go back inside the home. Can the police force entry into the bedroom to arrest the suspect without a search warrant? Okay, so this is actually a very common question with, unfortunately, not a lot of clear answers, right? There's not a lot of case law on this very issue, but let me just tell you how I'm going to analyze this. Number one, we do know that cops cannot enter a home simply to make a routine arrest, right? A good case on this is U.S. versus Johnson, U.S. Supreme Court, 1982. The quote, "The Fourth Amendment prohibits the police from making a warrantless and non-consensual entry into a suspect's home to make a routine felony arrest." Okay, so by the person locking themselves in the bedroom, I think it's pretty clear to everybody that he is not consenting to being arrested, right? And you also may be thinking to yourself, but Anthony, she can give you consent to enter the home and her consent can override his lack of consent. No, that's not generally true. That's Georgia versus Randolph established that when one party consents, but the other party who is present does not consent, they cancel each other out. So that logic won't work, right? But I think what gets us in here is good old-fashioned exigency. A Ninth Circuit case on this point is United States versus Snipe, a case from 2008. I'll put the description in below. But the Ninth Circuit basically said that they're going to adopt the two-part test. The test that they adopted is, number one, whether the officers have an objectively reasonable basis to believe there is an immediate need to protect the lives or safety of themselves or others. And number two, the manner and scope of the search is reasonable. So cops on scene are going to have to evaluate this, right? So first, I think we can agree that the victim here has a right to re-enter her own home, right? Also, if she's the victim of physical domestic violence, she has the right to be unassaulted by the spouse. So is that creating some exigency? I think the answer is yes, right? So if she has the right to go back into her home, and we also believe that based on these facts that she's probably gonna get battered again if we let her do it on her own, then I think the logic is that police can go in there and be her protector. But then the other things are, all right, so fine. So, what about talking to the victim and saying, hey, look, if we go in there, it's gonna, let's say he has firearms or he already knows he's already kind of barricaded himself in this room. Are we basically just kind of setting ourselves up for a use of force here, right? That can hopefully be avoided. I think that there's wisdom in trying to convince her to maybe, leave, let the cops get a warrant, get a tactical team on site if that's appropriate. In other words, maybe just doing this a little differently, right? Than a little haphazardly shooting from the hip. I guess the other question is, all right, fine. Again, let's just say there's no weapons involved. We don't think that he has weapons in the bedroom. If there are weapons in the bedroom, or there's weapons in the house, or especially if he threatens somebody with a weapon, then you're just asking for, an OIS, right? I think the better approach is to treat him as a barricaded subject, and that you have exigency for, especially if you think that he's armed and dangerous in there and you have a tactical plan. But if she's like, look, all I got to do is just grab my purse from the counter inside the kitchen, then maybe that's what the cops do. They shadow her in there, they allow her to grab her purse and leave. But if she says, I got to go into the bedroom because that's where I'm staying here tonight, I'm not leaving, and if you guys leave, then I'm going to be the victim again of a domestic violence, then I think cops are going to have to make the decision whether or not they feel there's exigent circumstances. And the answer is probably yes. Here's the point. There's no automatic right to enter the home. You're going to have exigent circumstances. I think you would have it here, but you better do a damn good job in articulating this, right? And having this idea about exigent circumstances before you enter. And finally, there's nothing wrong with trying to resolve this peacefully if there's another solution here. I don't know if there is, but that's my advice to you. All right. Hopefully this has helped you get it right every single time. Keep the questions coming. These are great, at least conversation starters, but that's what you're going to want to have in your head. All right? All right.